Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I barely got the idea, right? What if we take a biome and we try to, refine it, make it a little bit more special, make it a little bit more different, upgrade some of the biomes. Like some of these biomes have been out there for decades. For example, the forest biome you see behind me, the normal one we know today has been out there for, I think, like since Minecraft started. So it's bound to be very outdated. I decided to, maybe take a look at the forest, see what I could change and what could make it a little bit more interesting, but not too interesting, because we don't want to make it like a gold mine for loot or whatever. We just want to make it special. I'll take you with me in survival first. We're gonna walk through it as we would normally do in a survival map. Not exactly, because I have actually made a path, as you can see over here, and a pathway that's something we're gonna follow. It might be even nice if it's like generated as like a small path you can follow, and so you're not parkouring between the trees, because sometimes the forest has like a small trail that's like not entirely fully grown. And what we have here on the way, you'll notice that there's all kind of different blocks. The fallen, the puzzle is very nice here, as each will give you a feel of fallen leaves. But it might be nice that they add like, for example, instead of puzzle, we have a layer like you have with snow. Like snow can be placed with snow, and then there will be like a small layer of snow. What if they added a wither effect that lets leaves fall from the trees and will add like a small layer of fallen leaves that you can like pick up and use for decoration? That might be nice, right? That might be better than puzzle, because then it's like placeable or removable even. Maybe it like disappears just like snow when the weather gets like hotter for a long time. That might be a very interesting mechanic, which I would love to see. Now you notice that there's a couple of very big trees, and that's just to me that forest feel a little bit less dense than it is right now, and a little bit more open worldy, I would say. The one thing I hate about Minecraft Forest these days is that it's so closed off that it's not really like a forest, it's just like a nuisance, to be honest. So with the big trees and the sparsely placed trees, there's like enough room to navigate through the forest without it being very annoying, and it really gives you like a forest feel to it. Of course, we can't have a forest without bees and any critters. You should be able to find wolves and foxes here as well, and maybe some other new animal that they could release in such a forest update. To make the forest even a little bit more interesting, maybe they could like add a small room to it. And the rune itself is nothing too special, just a point of interest, you would say. And if you go in the middle of the room, you'll notice that there's not too much going on, but there is a chance, maybe, to have a staircase that goes down here in a sort of wine cellar. And once you go down, you'll notice that there's like a shulker sound going off, which opens these two doors on the side, which will spawn husks. And you can kill them and place a torch on them, as you'll do. And once you've done that, you have access to a chest room. So it's basically a trap. Once we look underneath, notice that there's a shulk sensor here on the strength 2 output, so it will only detect when you jump. And that's why there is no staircase here on the bottom, so you're kind of forced to jump down, unless you of course know that that is here and you place the block down so you don't have to jump. Then you can of course just claim all the loot and leave. So it's not like a force fight, it's only a force fight if you don't know what's going on. Once inside, there's not too much going on beside the chest that you have, but in this chest maybe we got a couple of categories of what you could find. So for example, the common loot is all the normal mobs drop and the golden tools and golden armor. The uncommon drops, so something you find like maybe 1 out of 2 times, is either iron tools or some normal ores like emerald, diamond, gold ingots, and redstone. Very rare drops is a shirt, saddle, maybe a wild armor tree. It might be nice. Some enchantment books and diamond tools. What I thought would be very cool to have is maybe have like a very unique drop, like 1 in 50 chance or whatever, to get a monster spawner or a spawn egg of any mob. But maybe nerf the monster spawn, like this monster spawn, like making your item that only like spawns a monster every 10 seconds or 20 seconds or so. Therefore, it's not too overpowered, and it makes Minecraft a little bit more survival friendly if you want to make farms. That you don't need to make like huge farms. You could just try and hunt these things, because I want to give the forest like a purpose to why you want to come down here and get the loot. Because that's the thing I don't like about some of the Minecraft things, is that some of the loot is just so useless that it's not really worth to go in and like raid some of the dungeons too. So with this I want to make it like a little bit more interesting, I guess, like make a weaker version of the monster spawner that you can use in your base that like spawns a mob every so many minutes. We can kind of grind some resources, but not too overwhelming. So the farms you can make are still better, but there's like a cheap alternative that doesn't require you to make a giga farm. Anyway, going further in the forest, there's also a small chance that you will find a cave entrance. And that cave entrance is just a normal cave. You can add like a JPEG of a cave in here, but it just invites you over to go a little bit more of cave exploring. In this cave right now there's nothing, but just imagine this being like a normal Minecraft cave, because I do like the caves we have right now. It just sometimes needs a proper cave entrance, which we have over here. Moving on, you'll notice that there's not too much going on, but however we do have some fallen trees, which is of course something you'll notice in a lot of forests. If you're walking in a forest, you always notice some fallen trees. So why not have it over here? I think there's another fallen tree somewhere at the beginning, but we can use the fallen trees as like a natural walkway over a river. Not quite sure how you can properly generate this in like in a random generation seed that Minecraft has, but maybe it's a possibility, or maybe we don't really need this, but we just the fallen over trees is a very nice detail, which I would love to see in Minecraft. And then we got the river, which has well, in this case it has like a starting point over there, just like a source, and we have got some nice little trees that like go somewhere in the middle of the pond. Because that's something I sometimes don't really like about Minecraft, is that ponds are mostly just open spaces. Might be nice to have some nature, small little islands here and there. And that's pretty much it from survival standpoint, but let's look at some smaller details that we have here. This could also, if you want to terraform a forest, these are some small details that you could use. For example, if you're looking at a regular tree we have here, it's mostly made of like normal oak wood, because it's a tree, but the bottom part is wider than the middle part, and the top part is getting wider again. And of course, if you have a tree and then it mostly has some moss attached to it, which you could add facing north. Where the sun never comes, that's where you want to place some moss. You could replace some of the oak logs with normal moss, so it looks like the tree is completely taken over by moss. Using vines is also an option, but do remember that vines grow like crazy. So if you want to use vines, then either put your random tick speed at 0, or use strings around it, but that makes it look a little bit more ugly in my opinion, but there's really no other way to do that. Oh yeah, here's the fallen log I was talking about. So the tree also have some branches, which also could have some moss, and it's not too much greenery, but it's enough. And gotta make sure at the top of the tree you have enough room between their leafage, so there's still a room for the sun to shine through. So if you make your tree completely filled with leaves, that will just look like a big blob. And in the river we got some gravel and dead coral blocks, as well as some clay to make it look a little bit more river-like, which we have like more blocks than we have normally in the Minecraft thing, with the clay being a overabundance one, as clay is something that most people don't really seem to use, because it's just so hard to get it in like big amounts, and therefore I see very few people use the bricks, and that's just myself included, because I just don't want to like struggle with all the clays and stuff and cooking all the clay things just to get like 5 bricks out of it, you know. So I get that, and that's why I want to have like extra clay in this river, so it's easier to like mine up and get loads of. And this is like the source of the water thing. Of course, not really necessary to be there, but I like it. I like to have like a little source. And the fallen over tree that fell on top of this house and made the ruin even more possible. Okay, of course, if you have a tree falling on top of your house is not going to look too dandy after that. A small little detail I forgot to tell you about. In each of these two spawn chambers, there's also some coarse, I think it's called coarse gravel, like the special gravel where you have to use your brush to get relics from. I thought that might be a nice thing to also include in these things, so you can have some extra small loot from these small sellers. In this case, I'm using the Vanilla Tweaks texture pack, but if I turn it off, let me just quickly remove the textures. Still notice that the leafage looks pretty nice, and just love the extra small little details from the Vanilla Tweaks, but just like this, it still looks pretty neat to me. Let's remove the shaders, so you can also see it without shaders in case you can't run shaders for a reason. It's completely fair. And I notice that this forest is still a lot more interesting to look at than the normal forest we have right now. And at night these things look so much more menacing and so much more dangerous than it normally does. Just imagine having fireflies at this moment. That would look so beautiful. Mojang, please add fireflies. We don't care about frogs. Just add the fireflies. It will look nice. It will give like a very beautiful atmosphere to this place, and it's just in general the world would look so much nicer with flying lights. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this reimagined idea for the forest. It is a thing you can do in survival to like rebuild. Oh god, I ran into a tree. The thing that you can do in survival, like terraform the forest and make it look nicer. But it takes a lot of work and a long time. It is a thing you can do though. So if you feel like your forest is too boring, take a little inspiration from this and expand on your forest, make it look a little bit more beautiful. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!